Welcome back. This is episode 92 of the Veterinary Business Video Show. This episode made possible with the support of VBay, Veterinary Business Advertising. In today's show we'll examine a quote from Albert Einstein and hear some advice about 5 important metrics that all small businesses need to manage. We'll learn something about client satisfaction in the veterinary marketplace, hear how to keep role-playing productive in staff meetings, and I'll offer you my quick business tip for this episode. I'm John Sheridan, and this is the show that helps practice owners, managers and clinicians just like you to build your practice into a great business. Have you ever heard the quotation that in God we trust, all others bring data? On the other hand, Albert Einstein is quoted as saying that not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. Who could possibly argue with that, particularly veterinary practice owners and managers faced with a mountain of computer printouts packed with data, but struggling to identify which key performance indicators are likely to be most helpful in managing their particular practice? My own experience suggests that whilst there may be some performance issues which can't easily be measured, for example, how would you go about measuring client satisfaction or patient comfort? The likelihood is that if there are any significant problems which impact on service to clients, professional standards, patient care, staff morale or financial performance, they will show up in the numbers somewhere. Here's a clip in which Tracy Laubster tells us why a consultant paediatrician found it useful to track practice performance.
I'd like to speak to you about a challenge that one of my clients experienced and how he overcame that challenge by measuring and tracking his performance. Okay, his challenge was that he was a specialist pediatrician, okay, and he billed based on time that he charged, okay. So there's only a limited amount of time available for you to earn income in this type of field, and your business may be similar, okay. The challenge that he had was the fact that he made a commitment to purchase office space. Okay, no longer rent at a cheaper value, but now purchase the office space, which was obviously going to be a huge outflow for his business. And he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to pay for it or afford it. So what we did was, this is when I first started working with him, we started measuring and tracking his performance. Okay, and I asked him a question. I asked him 2 questions. I said, how can we increase your revenue? Okay, how can we either increase the price of what you charge your customers or your clients to make sure that we're able to afford this new office space? Or is there a way where we can basically squeeze more clients at the same price in a shorter space of time? Okay, so he had these 2 options available. And just because we started entering into this conversation, we started tracking his performance, he actually decided to do a little bit of a mix of both. Instead of having half-an-hour blocks for the initial consultation with his customers or clients, he actually decided to squeeze it into 15 or 20 minutes. Okay. He also started measuring and tracking what he was charging for different types of consultations and what the market was charging. And I will be honest with you, and within, I'd say, 3 months, he actually doubled his turnover because he had more control. Okay, and he was able to measure and track his performance against what he forecast. So this is the power of measuring and tracking the performance in your business.
Now I'd like to take the opportunity of thanking VBay Veterinary Business Advertising for sponsoring this episode of the Veterinary Business Video Show.
It's not often that a completely novel service is launched in the veterinary sector, especially one that fills a great big gap in the market. Well, it's happened now. VBay.co.uk is an online marketplace exclusively for veterinary business advertising, and it's the place to buy or sell anything veterinary related. So if you're a supplier or you work in a veterinary practice, please register today for free at vbay.co.uk and be part of the future.
Now let's look outside the box for this episode. So if you're persuaded that there is value in measuring and monitoring practice performance, The questions are, what are your top KPIs? What numbers should you track? And what should you do with them? Here's a clip in which Clayt Mask, Chief Executive of Infusionsoft.com, shares 5 important metrics that he believes all small businesses need to manage.
Hi, this is Clayt Mask, CEO of Infusionsoft, and I want to talk a little bit about metrics. Measuring performance in a business can be really difficult. It can be maddening, actually, because there's so many things you can measure. It's hard sometimes to set up the systems to do it and then to know what to focus on. And let's face it, we can only focus on so many things at once. So measuring the right stuff is very important. So let me talk about just a couple of things that I think are useful for any business, and then point out a few metrics that I think every entrepreneur, every business owner trying to grow their company is wise to measure. Let's start with the premise that where performance is measured, performance improves. That is just true. If you haven't seen that yet, start measuring it and you'll notice that that's what starts to improve. But in fact, where performance is measured and reported, it improves dramatically. And if you want to take it a step further and report that measurement publicly, then it gets crazy how great the performance is, because you get competitive issues that start to happen, and as humans we want to look good in front of our peers, and so when performance is measured and reported publicly, performance improves dramatically. Alright, so let's take that premise, let's accept that as gospel for just a moment, and let's talk about what should you measure. Alright, a few things that every business needs to measure are pretty obvious. Obviously you want to measure your revenue, you want to measure your expenses and know your expenses very well. And when you compare revenue expenses, then obviously you measure profitability. And you want to certainly measure those 3 things, but sometimes even more important than all of that is what is the cash flow of the business. And simply put, how many dollars are, if you want to measure cash flow, you can just look at the bank account and say at the beginning of the month it was X, and at the end of the month it was X plus 10, so your cash flow was plus 10. Hopefully it was plus. If not, and there's sometimes in a business where it's not, and that's okay. You just have to make sure that you're recognizing that stage of the business. But cash flow is critically important, because sometimes people get all wound up around sales or revenue, or perhaps around profit, but you can be profitable and you can have great revenue and still be burning cash. So make sure you're keeping an eye on the cash. It's critically important. The first one is, what does it cost to get a customer? So this is frequently called cost per acquisition or customer acquisition cost. We like to call it cost per acquisition, CPA. Next one that's really important to track is customer satisfaction. Better put, customer loyalty. You can do this in a bunch of different ways. You can survey customers the way we do. We're actually moving to a new system next year called Net Promoter, and that's a really powerful way to find out how people are referring you, because really it's all about referability. The better you know how people are referring, then the more you can invest in your cost per acquisition.
What are your top 5 KPIs? Do you believe that performance measured results in performance improved? Just send me an email. I'd very much like to hear from you. Now let's see who's on the video show Soapbox for this episode. Earlier in this episode I asked whether you could measure client satisfaction. I suppose the short answer is yes, but that it's probably easier to monitor client dissatisfaction than satisfaction. After all, clients who complain or clients who leave your practice to go elsewhere are likely to be very dissatisfied. What you really need to know is, why are they dissatisfied, and what do you need to do to put things right? Maybe we don't talk to our clients enough about what they do like and what they don't like, about the service we offer them. Here's a clip in which Karen Smith, author of Client Satisfaction Pays, discusses some of the factors which influence client satisfaction in the veterinary marketplace.
Practices can do several small things every day to increase client satisfaction, and the most important thing is to ask open-ended questions. Sometimes that seems hard because you're worried the client's going to just talk forever. The key is to ask an open-ended question and then be quiet. Be quiet long enough that the client can answer, and give them the time to express what they have to say. Often clients will continue talking because they're interrupted and they haven't had time to say what they want to say. So ask those questions and then be silent and listen. There's one very common misunderstanding that veterinarians have regarding client satisfaction, and that is how we describe value. Most veterinarians think of value in terms of time and technology involved, And so they'll say something to the client like, the reason these radiographs cost this much is because we have this really involved equipment, and we spend this much time, and we have this really good technology. But value to the client is totally different. The client wants to know, what will make my pet better? And so to the client, value would be expressed as, we use this technology so that we can see the really good detail when we take a picture of your pet, so we can find out what's wrong and make him feel better right away. That's value to the client. Well, clients are individual people, and they all have different needs and different questions. The problem we get into is when we get really busy, we tend to forget. And so someone comes in with a dog that looks like it has fleas, and you start to rush to the diagnosis and what we're going to do before recognizing there's somebody in front of you. Welcome them and ask them how they're doing. Find out what's going on with them.
Now for my quick business tip for this episode. Role-playing is an effective learning tool in a workplace situation because it increases learning retention, provides hands-on training and communication skills, helps to build your team, encourages brainstorming, improves self-confidence, helps to analyze problems from various points of view, it's low cost, and if you do it right, it's fun. Dr. Ernie Ward, a well-known consultant from the United States, says, you may feel awkward when acting out your role-playing exercises during staff training sessions, but it does pay dividends. In this clip, he explains the benefits of role-playing and suggests how to take such training to the next level.
When it comes to role-playing, I think you need to understand it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel weird, especially the first few times you do it. What I've found to be the most effective way to make role-playing work is for the leaders to start it off. So me as a practice owner, when we're doing our weekly staff training, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be the staff member first because I want to model or show my staff what it is I'm trying to get across. I want them to see how I want to communicate, both verbally and non-verbally. So I believe in modeling those actions that I want my staff to portray. So that's going to be the first step. The second step is be attentive and be sensitive. So this isn't some form of beratement or belittlement. I'm not there to tell a person how bad they're doing something. I'm there to say, hey, here's what you're doing great, but let me offer some advice on how to make it better. But if you really want to take your role-playing to another level, forget the role-playing and videotape. I love video cameras. For many, many years, I've gone to my lectures and said, videotape appointments, videotape appointments. We've now gone to technology that have these little tiny cameras that we can actually just focus on the staff member. So we're looking at it from the client's perspective. In the room, we can watch it in real time. We can tape it to an SD card and review it later. But most importantly, we can take that footage, sit down with that staff member, and have them critique it. I often don't have to say a thing. I just roll the tape and let them be their own best or worst judge. Oftentimes, they're going to see things that maybe I wouldn't even pick up on, but more importantly, it takes us away from an adversarial role where they say, no, I'm not doing that, or they somehow don't like the fact that I'm giving them this criticism. They get to see it for themselves, how they look whenever they're talking to a client, and they can then improve themselves. So that's the way to kick it up to another level. It's always going to feel awkward. It's always going to feel a little bit funny, but the reality is training is your best defense if you want to boost your bottom line.
So what's my quick business tip? Well, it's this. If you haven't used role-playing exercises to train your staff and to diagnose and improve communication skills in your practice, give it a try. Use everyday situations in the consulting room, the reception area, or on the telephone to analyze current or potential problems from the point of view of a client, a receptionist, and a clinician, to work out what's going right, what's going wrong, and how it can be improved. Don't forget to clarify the objectives, summarize the scenario, create and deal with an unexpected situation, and then seek feedback and ask, what have we learned and what can we do to make things better? Well, that's about it for now. I'm John Sheridan, and this is the Veterinary Business Video Show. See you next time.